come into a nice, comfortable standing position in our mountain. Maybe we'll take a moment to march our feet, and then we'll just let our feet settle where they land, about hips width apart. Nice solid base of support here. Rolling our shoulders back and down. Let's just take a moment here to breathe. Just sensing our awareness of the present moment. Nice deep inhale and exhale. We might want to close our eyes and just spend some time centering inwards. Noticing any sensations coming up in our body. And if there's any area of our body that we're taking special care of today, maybe taking a moment to place our hands in that area. And we'll breathe a beautiful white light into that area of our body, sending healing energy there. And then we'll remember throughout our practice to hold space and compassion for ourselves, and to approach any areas that we may be struggling with compassion and grace. And maybe placing one hand on our belly and one hand on our chest. Let's take a moment to focus in on some deep breathing. So often during the day, we may catch ourselves only breathing shallowly through our chest. Let's take a moment here to really feel our bellies expand, diaphragm moving and shifting. And so we'll practice breathing deeply, pushing in through our belly into that hand, expanding through our rib cage and lifting tall through the crown of our head. And as we exhale, just releasing and relaxing. Take a few breaths here, just experimenting at our own pace of breath in the morning as we're waking up, and finding a breath that feels comfortable and safe for us. You might find that our bodies sway back and forth when we're working on our breath. We're letting our body tell us what it needs today. And keeping that awareness of our breath with us, letting it serve as an anchor through our practice. Always remembering we can just come back to this simple breath where we feel safe. We'll release our hands down to our sides in mountain, and we can open our eyes. When we're ready, let's step wide on our mat, a little bit wider than our hips width apart and our toes pointed out 45 degrees. We're going to warm up our body with some moonflowers and sunflowers, inhaling our arms up to the sky, and exhaling, bending our knees, elbows coming down towards our hips. Inhale, reaching up to the sky, and exhale, reaching down. Inhaling up, exhale, pulling down, engaging through the lats in our back, and going at our own perfect pace. Again, letting our bodies tell us what we need today, moving with our breath, and allowing whatever needs to happen to happen. Matching one breath with each movement to get warm and to feel ready for our practice. If moonflowers feel safest for us, we can stay with our moonflowers, or we may want to come into some sunflowers. On our next exhale, hinging at the hip, reaching our hands down in a big circle towards the mat and inhaling them back up tall. And again, a few sunflowers here if they feel good. Envisioning drawing the sun down with its warmth and its energy. Matching our breath and our movement. We may even want to experiment after our next sunflower, alternating moonflowers and sunflowers. So I might do a moonflower here, inhaling up, And then exhaling down to a sunflower and inhaling up. And again, if we notice any tension arising in our body in a specific pose, just choose the pose that feels best today. Moving and breathing. Maybe just noticing any changes as our body begins to warm up today. Do we have any goals or intentions for our body to feel warm and alive? Beautiful. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here, whatever expression that we're taking. And when we're ready, we'll come back to our mountain, and we might want to step towards the short edge of our mat for our chair flow. Inhaling, arms up overhead, and exhaling, sitting back to chair, bending through our hips. Sitting back, inhale, reaching up, and exhaling back to chair. Any variation of arms works here. We may choose to bring our arms and our hands to heart center. For extra challenge, we may choose to leave our arms overhead or in front of us. Just matching breath and movement. Inhale, flowing up, and exhale, sitting back. If we're protecting our lower back, we may want to bring our hands down to our legs and use our body as that perfect prop to support our motions. And again, allowing our own perfect pace to settle in. Moving with our breath. Do we notice our feet grounding into the mat, feeling supported, drawing that strength up through our body? Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Inhaling at the end up to the sky, and exhale, bringing our hands back down to our sides in our mountain pose. Preparing to practice our swan dives. Inhale, reaching arms overhead. Exhale, arms out to the side, hinging at the hip, reaching down towards our legs or maybe towards the mat if we feel ready today. Inhale, reaching back up to the sky. And exhale, swan diving down, hinging at our hips, reaching towards our legs or the floor. Inhaling tall. Exhale, hinging at our hips. If this feels like an overload on our shoulders, we can bring our arms just out to the side and then maybe to our hips as we lower down for extra support. We're warming up our bodies and just practicing our descent down, lower to the ground. One more here. Inhaling tall, and on our next exhale, swan diving down towards the ground, bending through our knees so that we can touch our hands to the floor, and we'll step back to our first downward dog, stepping back with our right foot and then our left, lifting our hips up towards the sky, pressing our heels towards the mat, but keeping that slight bend in our knees. And then taking a few moments here just to pedal our heels, alternating one heel down and then the next, feeling a gentle stretch to the back of our legs. Finding that awareness in our body as we lengthen. And next, let's drop our knees down to the mat and shift our hips back to our heels in our child's pose. Let's take a moment here, have an opportunity to rest. We'll take a few deep breaths. Our heads can touch the mat, or maybe we stack our hands so that our forehead can rest on our fists. And extend our arms out in front of us And when we're ready, coming back up onto all fours and preparing for cat-cow. As we inhale, lowering our belly, elongating through our spine, letting our heart shine forward as we gaze ahead of us. And as we exhale, coming up into our cat pose. Our back is rounded, our head hangs low. Inhale, dropping down through our core, lifting tall through our head, keeping our shoulders at a distance from our ears. And exhale into cat, articulating through each vertebrae of our spine. And again, at our own perfect pace here, let's experiment for a few breaths, finding what feels good for our spine today. Keeping in mind that we should try to articulate each portion of our spine, not just our lower back, but also through our mid and upper back here in this pose. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. When we feel ready, we'll meet in a nice neutral spine position. So we're engaging our core by tucking our belly button towards our spine, noticing that straight line from the crown of our head to our tailbone. Finding support, we're going to come into a spinal balance. Just for today, let's practice first keeping both legs on the ground and reaching that right arm out in front of us on our inhale. And as we exhale, lowering that hand down. Let's inhale our left arm out in front of us. And exhale, lowering down. And let's alternate here for a few breaths, feeling that core engagement. If this pose puts too much pressure on our wrists, we can always utilize fists for wrists as an alternative. And when we're ready, coming back to all fours, let's alternate legs. Again, just for today, leaving both hands on the mat, but extending that right leg out behind us, imagining a perfect line from the crown of our head to our right heel, and then lowering back down. Now our left extends out, and coming back down. And we'll alternate here, imagining that we're balancing a glass of water on our hips, trying to keep that support through our core. If we would like to come into full expression, we can begin to alternate, and as that right leg reaches out, our left arm would also come up. But again, find whatever feels perfect for you today. If you feel that you want to take care of your arms, maybe your arms stay steady today, and we just move legs.
I got it just a little bit.
Just taking our time, finding our balance. We're going to do 2 more on each side. And when we're ready, we'll come back to all fours, settling in to this nice foundational pose here. We're going to shift back to our child's pose, just to give ourselves a rest and stretch through our spine. On our next inhale, we'll shift forward, coming into kneeling plank. And as we exhale, lowering down just halfway to our cobra, engaging through our triceps. And then let's lower the whole way down to the ground, bellies to the floor. Inhale, peeling our chest away, gazing forward. And exhaling back down. Inhale, pushing up to our kneeling plank. Exhaling back to child's pose. And let's go through our half series a few more times. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lowering down halfway. And then the whole way. Inhale, peeling our chest away, heart shines forward. Exhale, lowering down. Inhaling, kneeling plank. And exhaling, child's pose. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lowering down slowly. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, kneeling plank. And exhale to child's. Let's go 3 more times at our own perfect pace. Really allowing ourselves to feel the sensations we need to feel in the pose. But gauging where our bodies are today. And using our breath to guide every movement. Wherever we are, completing 1 more cycle of our half series. We'll meet back in our child's pose, taking a few deep breaths here for a brief rest. And when we're ready, inhaling up to all fours and exhaling to downward facing dog. As we inhale, step our right foot forward to our lunge, and then our left foot comes forward to meet it, reversing our swan dive, lifting tall to the sky. Coming into modified sun salutations, exhale, swan diving forward, reaching down to the ground, bending our knees. Inhale, stepping our right foot back to lunge, and then our left, pushing back into our child's pose. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, letting our heart shine forward in cobra. Exhale, down. Inhale, back up through kneeling plank. Exhaling, child's pose. And as we inhale, shifting forward, right foot comes forward to the front of the mat. And then our left, coming up through a reverse swan dive, reaching to the sky. Exhaling back to chair. Inhale, reaching to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, left leg steps back to kneeling lunge. Right leg back to child's pose. Inhale, forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, cobra, opening our heart. Exhale, down. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, stepping our left foot forward to our hands. Exhale, right foot meets it. Inhaling, swan dive up. And exhaling to chair. Do a few more, warming our bodies. Inhale, tall. Exhale, swan dive low. Inhale, right foot back. Drop the knee. Exhale, left foot back. Child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhaling, cobra. Exhaling, down. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, stepping our left foot forward. Exhaling, right comes to meet it. Inhale, reverse swan dive tall. And exhaling, chair. Inhale, tall. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, right foot back, drop the knee. Exhale, left foot back, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhaling down. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhaling, child's pose. Inhale, left foot comes forward. Exhale, right foot meets it. Inhaling tall. And exhaling in chair. Let's take a moment. Hold chair for a few seconds here. Reconnect with our breath. Whenever we're ready, inhaling back up to meet in mountain. Hands at heart center. Just pause for a brief moment here, just to reconnect with our breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Remembering that breath is our anchor throughout our practice. Inhale, let's reach toward the sky. This time we'll exhale, swan dive forward, bending our knees so our hands can comfortably touch the mat. As we exhale, we'll step back to a downward dog and pedal our heels for a moment here. And then pressing both heels back towards the ground. We're going to come forward into a plank. We're going to drop the left knee and kickstand the left foot out behind us. The right foot pivots, so we're on the inside edge of that foot. We're going to reach the right arm up to the sky, coming into our side plank. Finding our balance here, keeping our core engaged. We'll lower back down, place the right knee, put the left leg out behind us, pivot open, and we'll alternate sides, lifting tall through that left hand. We're going to come into a flowing side plank, so replacing legs, switching sides, moving with our breath. Just being careful to place the knee gently, open long. Again, we'll go at our own pace to protect our bodies and to listen to what they need. Let's try one more on each side if it's available to us. And when we feel ready, coming back to child's pose, and we'll all meet there as soon as it feels good. Let's take a few deep breaths, just to ease ourselves into our mat. Again, knowing we can use our fists for wrists if it feels better for our neck. Using this rest pose to let our heart rate slow down just a little bit after that really invigorating warm-up. Bring our hands back out in front in extended child's pose. We'll shift up to all fours. Let's step our right foot forward, and then our left into forward fold. Inhale, sweeping our arms up overhead, and exhaling, arms down. Beautiful. We're going to come into our warrior sequence next. So let's come into our breathing upward nice and tall, exhaling down into our swan dive. Let's step back into a lunge, and then step back into our downward dog, just to find that perfect position for our hands and feet. When we're ready, let's inhale, step that left foot forward to our hands, drop the back foot down, and as we inhale, let's sweep our arms up overhead. And we can readjust our stance a little wider or shorter if needed. Hips are shining forward. Our arms can stay overhead, come out to the side in cactus arms, or maybe they come to heart center or to our hips. And let's take a few deep breaths here in our warrior pose, engaging through our core and feeling strong. Keeping a nice bend in our front leg to notice that strength that we do carry with us everywhere we go. Keeping our focus forward. And inhaling open to the long edge of our mat into warrior two. Our arms can come out to our sides or again to our hips. And our gaze is fixed just past our left fingertips. Keeping that left knee bent and our feet supporting us. If we notice our shoulders coming up towards our ears, just easing them back and down, tucking our shoulder blades into our back pockets. Let's straighten out that front left leg. We'll shift the left arms forward to adjust our hips, and let's bring that left hand down maybe to our thigh or our shin, reaching right arm up in our triangle pose. Finding whatever works best for us today. If you would like to touch your block or the floor, and that's accessible for your practice, that's amazing. But we're getting the same stretch and the same strengthening no matter where our hand is, engaging our core muscles to support us so that even if we wanted to lift that bottom hand off of our leg, we could. Inhaling back up to our warrior two. Let's come back through our warrior one and exhale our hands to frame our front foot, coming up to our back toes. We'll step back into our down dog. And we'll repeat our sequence on our other side. So inhale, stepping our right foot forward and dropping our back heel, sweeping our arms up overhead to our warrior one. Taking a few deep breaths here, the arms come wherever feels comfortable. And just enjoying feeling that strength in our front right bent leg. Feeling our heart shine forward with our purpose and our strength. And letting our breath ground us into the strength of this pose. On our next inhale, opening up to warrior two, hips open to the long edge of our mat. Our arms can be out towards our side with our gaze past our right fingertips, or maybe our hands come to our hips. Noticing the openness that this pose creates. Let's straighten out through that right leg. Arms come open again. Reach out over with those right fingertips and let the hand fall where it will on the right leg. The left arm reaches to the sky or can come to our hip, depending on our arm and our preference today. Strong core, lengthening our spine. And again, maybe practicing that feather-light touch. The right hand maybe lifting off the leg for a moment to really engage through our core. We'll come back up through our warrior two, bending that front leg, shift over to our warrior one, and then exhale our hands down to frame our front foot, turning that back foot onto the toe, and we'll step back into our downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to pedal our heels. And when we're ready, we'll step the left foot forward to our hands. Inhaling up to our warrior one, dropping that back heel. Taking a few breaths here, feeling our strength. Arms wherever feels comfortable. And opening out to our warrior two. Again, our hips opening to the long edge of our mat. Arms out to the side or at our hips. Breathing deeply here. Straightening out through that left leg, reaching out past the leg and coming down to triangle pose. Left hand to leg or thigh, right arm up overhead or down to our hip. Opening up through our hips here and feeling our chest open. From triangle, we're going to bend through our left knee, bringing our forearm down to our thigh, coming into extended angle pose. So here we have a few options with our top right arm. Our arm can come up overhead tall. We can extend it a little bit forward so that we have a straight line from our fingertip down to the knife edge of our foot that's resting. Or we might want to bring that hand again down to our hip for support. Our left arm can reach down onto our thigh, or we may want to reach that hand down to the floor for a little more sensation. We'll take a few breaths here, feeling our hip open. From here, let's extend our hands both down to runner's lunge. Our hands are framing our foot. We'll come onto that back toe and we'll step into a downward dog. Again, taking a moment to pedal our heels. And from our downward dog, we're going to step our right foot forward, coming into runner's lunge, and then dropping down that back heel, inhaling arms overhead, warrior one. Noticing our breath in this warrior one, hands come wherever comfortable for us today. Building that dynamic tension through our bodies, shoulders roll back and down. On our next inhale, opening out to warrior two, hips open to the long edge of our mat, and we find our gaze just past our right fingertips. If we notice that our knee is kind of coming in or out, just redirecting so that our knee is stacked over our ankle. Let's straighten that front right leg, reach over that leg, and then coming down to our triangle. Right hand rests wherever comfortable. Left arm can extend tall or come wherever we need it to. Enjoying some deep breaths here, and again, maybe challenging to lift that right hand off of our leg or floor to notice if our core is engaged and holding us where we need to be. When we're ready, let's bend that right leg and bring our right forearm to our thigh for extended angle pose. Left arm can stay on our hip, can reach overhead, or it can come up over to our left ear with a straight line from our fingertip down to the outside edge of our foot. For a little more sensation, we could reach down to the inside of that right leg with our hand on the floor, or trying to find balance, noticing how much weight we're putting on our hand. And taking some breaths here to anchor into the pose. From our extended angle, let's windmill our hands down into our lunge. And then when we're ready, we'll step back into our downward facing dog. And again, pedaling our heels here. When we're ready, we'll step our right foot forward to meet our hands. And then our left, reversing our swan dive up. And exhaling our hands to heart center. And let's meet facing the long edge of our mat. Wow, I almost fell there, so let's see how the standing balance is gonna go, right? So coming into the long edge of our mat, we're gonna come into some standing balances. So taking a moment just to kind of slow our heart rate a little, let our blood pressure equalize after all that hard work that we just did. When it feels available to us, let's ground through our left leg, feeling all the corners of that foot, maybe lifting our heel and then lifting our toes to establish a very good base of support. Our right leg will kickstand open, so our hip opens, and let's rest just on our toes for now, with hands at heart center, finding balance. If this feels good for you, stay right here and just honor your practice. If not, you may want to bring that foot to your ankle, to your calf, or up to your inner thigh. We just want to avoid any pressure on the knee joint today, and we come to wherever we feel comfortable. Focusing in on this sense of proprioception, our body knowing where we are in space. We may want to close our eyes for extra challenge here. And notice if the balance feels any different without that sense of sight to guide us. Engaging through our core, belly button to spine. Imagining an invisible thread lifting the crown of your head up to the sky. Finding success in the pose. And when we're ready, releasing that leg, shaking out our legs and feet. And let's switch sides, beginning to balance through that right leg. And again, taking a moment, lift the toes and then lift the heel. Finding a really nice solid base of support where our foot feels supported. Kickstanding left leg open, maybe coming just to our toes. Finding our balance or bringing that foot to ankle, calf, or thigh on this side. Avoiding pressure on the knee. Our hands could stay at heart center, maybe they come to the side or up overhead. Closing our eyes if it feels available or interesting to play around today in this pose. It's okay if our tree blows in the wind. We bend and we don't break. And taking a few moments. Taking our next breath to find success within our pose before we end. Kicking that leg out to the side, and then let's shake out our arms and legs. Beautiful. We'll come back to the short edge of our mat in order to come down. Inhaling our arms up. Exhale, coming down into our forward fold. Let's step our right foot back, kneeling lunge, and then our left to join. And we'll come back to a child's pose. We'll do a wide legs child's pose here, so our toes are together, but our knees come wide out to the sides. And let's lower down and really enjoy sinking into this pose with each exhale, noticing our body relaxing into the pose. We may feel through our inhale that our ribs towards our back expand. And as we exhale, we sink a little deeper. Enjoying the lusciousness of this pose and letting our body relax and release anything it needs to. On our next inhale, we're going to shift forward to a kneeling plank, and then we're going to lower down, bringing our belly and our chest to the floor, preparing for locust pose. So stabilizing through our core, our hands are going to come back towards our hips, and we're going to rest our forehead on the ground. When we're ready, engaging through our glutes and our back, rolling our shoulders back, we're just going to lift our torso off the ground. So engaging and lifting, letting our heart shine forward, and gazing in front of us for 5 deep breaths. When we're ready, releasing back down to the mat for a moment. On our next expression of locust, we can choose to just lift our top torso, or we may also choose to lift through our legs, engaging our glutes. We can choose one or the other, or both. So when we're ready, engaging and strengthening through our back, peeling our shoulders and chest away from the mat, gazing to the top of our mat, arms lift. If it's accessible, we may also want to engage our glutes and lift our legs. Or we may choose only to lift our legs. And we'll hold here for 5 deep breaths. And releasing, giving ourselves a moment to rest, maybe bringing our forehead to the mat, or turning our head one way or the other in our rest. Let's bend our right leg and take our right hand back to our right ankle. We're going to bring our left hand in front of our face, our arm resting on the mat for support, in half bow pose, flexing through our foot to feel that stretch through our quadricep. If it feels good here, that's amazing, or we may choose to lift and engage, peeling open through our chest and lifting that knee off the mat. Another option would be that our left arm goes in front of us, we roll onto our side with that right leg behind. And again, 5 deep breaths here, really allowing ourselves to get into the sensation of this pose. When you're ready, slowly lowering back to center, releasing and finding our rest. Maybe dropping our head to the mat or resting our head on our hands. Next, we'll bend our left leg, reach our left arm back to grab left ankle. Bring our right arm in front of us for support as we lift our chest, engage and flex that left foot, and if it's accessible, lifting gently off the ground in half bow. We also have the option to extend right arm and roll onto our side with that left leg behind us. Whatever feels good today, 5 deep breaths into the sensation of this pose. When we're ready, releasing, bringing our arms out in front of us for a moment of rest. Let's bring our hands under our shoulders, and we'll push up into kneeling plank and back into child's pose. This can be a wide-legged child's pose or wherever it feels comfortable. Just releasing any tension in our spine from all of that work we just did. When we're ready, coming up to all fours, we're going to drop our hips down to the left and come into a seated position in staff pose. So our feet are out in front of us, a gentle bend in the knees if it feels good. We may want to take a bolster or a rolled up mat to lift our hips slightly if that feels better for our lower back. We're going to come in to a spinal twist. Let's draw our left leg in. We're going to sit up nice and tall here, and we want to remember the idea of a spiral. So when we twist, we're going to start down at the lowest part of our spine, and then we're going to slowly come up through our twist. So just for today, we're not going to reach our arm and use that for our twist. We're going to bring our arms out in front of us like a genie. And as we exhale, let's just bring our belly button as far as it wants to twist towards that left bent leg. And then let's twist through our rib cage. Now let's twist through our upper chest and arms. And maybe we turn our head very slightly to the left and gaze towards that shoulder. We'll hold our twist here, just enjoying new movement in our spine. To come out of our twist, let's start with bringing our head forward, and then our chest and rib cage, then our lower spine. We'll release that left leg out, and we'll draw the right leg in. Again, finding a nice tall spine, lifting through the crown of our head. And for today, bringing our genie arms in front. Let's twist our right belly button over towards that right leg as far as it feels comfortable. Then let's twist through our rib cage, and then through our chest, and finally moving our head over our right shoulder. Breathing deeply here, feeling new movement and new energy through our spine. Let's untwist our head first, then our chest and ribs, and then our belly. And when we're ready, we're going to hug behind that right leg to lower ourselves safely back down onto our backs. Beautiful. Let's hug both knees in for a moment. Just grabbing behind the knee and gently rocking back and forth, side to side. Maybe we take a moment here to hug our knees into our chest. Just enjoying that sensation of compression and love. When we're ready, we'll drop that left foot down. We're going to take our right ankle onto our left knee into a figure 4 stretch. So from here, we might feel some openness in that right hip. Just enjoying the stretch here. If we would like a little more sensation, we can grab behind our left knee and just pull that leg, both legs, in towards our chest to get a little more of a stretch. Wherever we feel comfortable today, breathing into our hips, allowing them to open and stretch. When we're ready, we'll hug that knee back into our chest, lower that foot down, and let's hug our left knee in this time. We'll bring our left ankle to our right knee and allow that left leg to open up through our hip, figure 4. Taking some deep breaths here, just allowing and enjoying the openness. Again, for some extra sensation, grabbing behind our right knee to gently pull legs closer to body, just to deepen sensation. Wherever we feel good today. Noticing where our breath is settling, coming back to our awareness of breath, coming back to awareness of our body. Bring that left knee hugging it in, and then both knees hugging in. Again, a gentle rock back and forth to release our spine. We'll bring both feet down to the mat, keeping our knees bent. Our hands come down next to our hips. We're going to gently peel our hips away from the floor, lifting them up into a bridge pose. And we'll hold here for a few breaths. If it feels better, we may want to put a block or pillow under our hips for this very gentle supported inversion, where we hold here, just activating our inner thighs, enjoying the lift and feeling that blood flow returning to our heart. Deep breaths and enjoying that sensation of the breath in our belly. Slowly lower back down one vertebrae at a time. Let's hug both knees in again just to release the lower back. And dropping our feet down, we'll extend our left leg out long, our right leg stays bent. We're going to drape that right leg over towards the left side. Our arms come out to either side for support. We're going to rotate through our hips, keeping our shoulders and our upper back on the ground, but allowing our right hip to lift as we enjoy a seated spinal twist, the supine spinal twist. Again, noticing where our breath goes, and just exploring with our own body and our sensation. Slowly roll back to center. We'll bring our left knee bent, left foot on the ground, right leg extends out. And we'll drape, allowing that left knee to go over our right leg. Keep our shoulders grounded on the floor, but that left hip can lift as our knee seeks where it needs to go, twisting through our lower back. Slowly roll back to center, and one more time, let's hug both knees into our chest. A gentle release for our spine, and a nice hug, congratulating ourselves and thanking ourselves for working so hard in our practice today, giving ourselves all of the love that we deserve, and preparing for our final relaxation. So we may want to just bring our feet down to the ground and keep our knees bent, or maybe extend our legs long. We could bring a hand to belly and hand to chest as a reminder to anchor with our breath. Or if it feels better or safer for us, we could choose any other position that we feel comfortable in for our final relaxation. Closing your eyes and just taking the time for yourself, connecting in with your breathing. Maybe allowing a reading to help with your relaxation journey today. Settling in and feeling safe, feeling warm and comforted. I know that I am pure spirit, that I always have been, and that I always will be. There is inside of me a place of confidence and quietness and security, where all things are known and understood. This is the universal mind, God, or higher power, of which I am a part, and which responds to me as I ask of it. This universal energy knows the answer to all of my problems, and even now the answers are speeding their way to me. I needn't struggle for them. I needn't worry or strive for them. When the time comes, the answers will be there. I give my problems to the great mind of God or the universe. I let go of them, confident that the correct answers will return to me when they are needed. Through the great law of the universe, everything in life that I need for my work and fulfillment will come to me. It is not necessary that I strain about this, only believe. For in the strength of my belief, my faith will make it so. I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me, in the flower, the tree, the brook, and the meadow. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect also. I enjoy life, for each day brings a constant demonstration of the power and wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident, I am serene, I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of the universe and the higher powers, which are in me and around me and serve me now. Let's take a few minutes to reflect on your practice, to offer unconditional love and peace into your body, mind, and spirit, connecting with breath, When it feels comfortable, just bringing our awareness back into our body. Maybe wiggling through fingers and toes, finding some movement where it feels good. And rolling over gently onto one side, whatever side feels good. And taking a deep breath, allowing that rest and restoration to ground within you. Whatever messages came to us in our practice, thinking of ways to integrate them into the rest of our day. Place a hand on the floor to gently push ourselves back up to a comfortable seated position, and we'll meet together seated. Bring our hands to heart center. Close our eyes for a moment. Thanking our bodies for carrying us through our practice today and for all they do every day to carry us through. And thanking our minds for staying focused on our practice today and helping us be aware and attuned to everything we need to know and say throughout our day. And thanking our spirit for being a constant present source of energy, inspiration, and vibrance. For giving us everything that we need and connecting us to the universe. The goodness and light within me honors the goodness and light within you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.